You guys will not be seeing this until I am through my first trimester. So when you see this, it's going to be retrospective looking back, just because we want to wait to announce until we are feeling like we're in the safe zone. So, but I still want to document this. So when you see this, I will probably be 13 weeks by then. But yeah, that's why we're waiting. So we haven't told a lot of people that we decided to try this month because Bill was actually laid off at the beginning of the month, but I just had this like gut spiritual feeling that we're supposed to try this month, and I guess that gut feeling was right. Like, I guess it was a God feeling, it was a God thing, and I guess just logically speaking too, I was feeling like if Bill's gonna be unemployed for a couple of months, like now would actually be a good time, because I have no doubt that he's gonna get another job, and soon. We just don't have many doubts about that. He's very qualified. And so if he's gonna be home, like he might as well be home while I'm going through the roughest part of the first trimester, right? And I can have him help with driving Alex to preschool and his activities and all the things that would be pretty difficult for me to do while feeling sick. It was actually, just logically speaking, it was feeling like a good time as well. We were thinking that we were going to wait until like early summer to start trying. I honestly, guys, was really unsure. For the last year, I was really unsure whether I wanted to have baby number 3. So let me tell you guys the story of this feather. And if you guys have been following me since I started YouTube 2.5 years ago, you may have heard this story already, but most of you haven't, so I will tell it again. I will actually link my first pregnancy vlog with my last child, Sophie. I'll link that video here where I tell that story. That was actually the main jump that got me into starting YouTube, was my last pregnancy. So I can't believe I'm still on YouTube and going to be doing pregnancy vlogs again. That's crazy. Anyway, the story of this feather. This is gonna kind of sound like woo-woo and kind of crazy to a lot of you probably, but this is what happened. We went through significant infertility problems, and like I said, if you haven't seen that video, be sure to check that out. I'll put that in the cards, I'll put that playlist. Long story short, we basically had severe male factor infertility, and for 18 months we tried to get pregnant unsuccessfully, and we actually did an IVF that failed. And then we went on to get pregnant naturally 2 months after the failed IVF. It was really miraculous. That was my son, Alex. And the funny thing is, before I knew I was pregnant, I have that whole story. I will link that video here. I have so many stories that I have already told on YouTube. I might as well link them all. The story of how we found out I was pregnant with him. And we were on a trip in Oregon, and on our way back, we stopped at Mount Hood, and Bill, I was feeling exhausted and I didn't know why. I mean, I was starting to get suspicious that I was pregnant, but I didn't have a pregnancy test because we were on vacation, and I didn't want to tell Bill because we had had so many disappointments before, so I didn't want to tell him until I had confirmed it. But when he went out, I was exhausted, and so I stayed at the lodge, and he went out hiking around on the glacier, just not far from the lodge. And when he was out there, he found a feather, and it looked just like this feather. I'll actually post a picture right here of all 3 of these feathers. But the first one he found, it was like an eagle feather or a hawk feather or something, and he brought it back. He just felt compelled to pick it up, and he brought it back to me. He says, maybe it's a good omen for something, and he didn't even know what he meant when he said that. And that night, when we got home, I took the pregnancy test and it was positive, and I was shocked and almost fainted. And so it was just kind of, I don't know, I'm not even a big believer in signs. Like, I'm not superstitious, but like, it was kind of cool and kind of strange that this happened. I mean, at first we just thought it was, you know, like, oh, that's kind of cool, we found a feather. And, you know, when we took the pregnancy test, we're like, oh, maybe it's a sign, you know, just kind of joking around, like, but then we kept it just because it was special that we had found that the day we found out that we were pregnant with Alex. And then fast forward, I had actually had 2 miscarriages after Alex. And then, so yeah, the miscarriages, both of those times we tried, it was like the first and second time we tried, and then we took a little break and moved. And like the month we moved, we got pregnant with Sophie. And it's so funny, the same week that we found out we were pregnant with her, Bill found another feather just like this out in our yard. And we thought, what if this means we're pregnant? Wouldn't that be funny? And sure enough, I was pregnant then. Like, it was kind of crazy. Like, it really was. And seriously, guys, I'm really not superstitious. I'm not like a huge believer in signs and that kind of thing, but it was a little crazy that like both times we found out we were pregnant with our kids, we found a feather that looked very similar. I mean, we find like crow feathers and random feathers like that, but these are like big eagle hawk feathers. Like, you don't see these very often. Like, these are the only time I have ever found these on the ground before. Okay, so fast forward, we had our daughter Sophie. The last year or so, I've been really debating whether I wanted to have a 3rd child or not. I was feeling really overwhelmed just with the 2 that we have, and I was not sure if I could handle it. I was having a lot of doubts, a lot of anxiety. I've talked about my issue with anxiety. I'll put that here as well. But then I ended up finding this feather a couple months ago. And when I saw it on the ground, I was out for a walk and I saw this on the ground. I was like, It just made me think, because I was having so many doubts, like, and I was thinking about it so much right around that time. Do we want to have a 3rd child? And that's when I saw this feather. Like, maybe I am a believer in signs now, because like it just confirmed that for me. I brought it home. I was like, I don't feel like now is the right time, because this was like 6 months ago or something. And so I brought it home and I just put it on my dresser, and I forgot about it for a while. And then, you know, a month or 2 ago, when I was still feeling a lot of doubt about whether we want to have a 3rd, we were talking about if we're gonna do it, we should probably do it sometime this year or next year. I saw this sitting on the dresser again, and I had forgotten about it. And it was almost like God was saying, yep, I want you to have a 3rd. I know that sounds totally crazy and kind of woo-woo, but you have to admit, it's weird that we found a feather that looks almost like this every single time. It's weird, it's crazy, and it's kind of cool. So honestly, that kind of confirmed for me that yes, we feel like we're meant to have one more. We didn't try, the month that I saw that, I was like, okay, we just need to wait for a time that we feel like we're getting, you know, the still small voice that it's time. And this month was honestly when I think I felt that. Like I said, I felt like it was like, I just had a gut feeling about it that we were supposed to try this month. Even though it was sooner, like 6 months sooner than we were planning on trying. But like I said, it just felt right this month. And even though Bill is unemployed, it just felt like it would be the right thing right now. And so we're like, okay, let's just give it a shot. If we don't get it this month, then we'll go with our original plan and try in the summer. So apparently I was having that gut feeling for a reason. So here we are, and it's just amazing what happens when you listen to that still small voice, you know what I mean? Things happen that are supposed to happen, and it's amazing to me every time this happens. So here I am, pregnant with baby number 3. I can't even believe that. So we definitely tried quite a bit this month. I wasn't officially charting, so I didn't know exactly the day I ovulated, but I'm pretty sure within a few days, like I said. So today I'm somewhere between 9 and 12 DPO, but I think I ovulated early. I have a hunch that I ovulated early, so it's likely that I'm on, 11, 12 DPO today. So that would mean, if all goes well, that would mean a mid-October due date. Both of our other kids were born 4 days apart in March. And so it's going to be nice to have a kid that's in a completely different time of the year. I think that's going to actually be kind of fun, just to have a different birthday. We don't have a lot of fall birthdays in our family, so that'll be kind of cool. I actually, in the last few days, I've been getting kind of suspicious that maybe this was the case. My boobs have been unusually sore, especially since I was nursing. I used to get sore boobs before my period all the time, but since I nursed, that kind of stopped happening and I didn't really get sore boobs anymore. It was interesting. But this time they were really sore, so that was kind of like a red flag to me, like, And then also, even from the day that I think I ovulated, I have just been kind of having like a low-level cramping ever since. And then in the last couple days, that cramping intensified. So I don't know if that's implantation or, you know, I know you just get a lot of, I remember the feeling. This is my 5th pregnancy. Oh my gosh. Hopefully 3rd baby. But I am familiar with what it feels like now. So I was feeling that crampy feeling. I'm like, it kind of feels like that, but we also had a little bit of an intestinal bug going through our house this last week, and so I was like, well, it could be that too. I didn't want to fixate on it too much, but now I know that that's what I've been feeling, and today especially, and now that I know, I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely what I'm feeling, that just mild crampy kind of feeling. So, and then the last couple days, I also have been taking unintentional naps. Like I've just been really exhausted, and I'm like, oh, it's probably just the bug we have going through our house. And no, I've been like accidentally falling asleep on the bed after the kids go to bed at night, and that's unusual for me. So there were definitely a few things that were making me think, this is a little different than it normally is every month. So I had a feeling, but I didn't want to get my hopes up. So those are my symptoms so far.